a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. 2006 Winter Olympics. The 2006 Winter Olympics, officially known as the 20th Olympic Winter Games and commonly known as Turin 2006 was a winter multi-sport event which was held in Turin, Piedmont, Italy from February 10 to 26, 2006. This marked the second time Italy hosted the Olympic Winter Games, the first being the 7th Olympic Winter Games in 1956. Italy also hosted the games of the 17th Olympiad in Rome in 1960. Turin was selected as the host city for the 2006 Games in June 1999. The official logo displayed the name Torino, the Italian name of the city. The city is known as Turin in both English and the local traditional language, Piedmontese. The Olympic mascots of the Games were Neve, a female snowball, and Gliz, a male ice cube. The official motto of the 20th Olympic Winter Games was, "Passion lives here." Host city selection. Turin was chosen as the host of the Olympics on June 19, 1999, at the 109th IOC session in Seoul, South Korea. This was after the IOC had adopted new election procedures during the 108th Extraordinary IOC session in light of the corruption scandals surrounding the votes for the 1998 and 2002 Winter Olympics. Since IOC members were forbidden from visiting the candidate cities, the 109th IOC session elected a special body, the Selection College, to choose finalist cities from the pool of candidate cities after each had made their final presentations to the full IOC session. The full IOC session then voted on the cities chosen as finalist cities by the Selection College. Although 6 cities launched candidacies and made presentations to the full IOC session, the Selection College chose only 2 cities to go forward to be voted upon by the full IOC session: Sion and Turin. The candidacies of Helsinki, Finland, Popredtri, Slovakia, Zakopane, Poland, and Klagenfurt, Austria were dropped by the Selection College after all 6 candidate cities made their candidate presentations. The selection of Turin over Sion came as a surprise, since Sion was the overwhelming favorite in part because the IOC is based in Switzerland. Media speculation was that the choice of Turin was due to the IOC's desire to retaliate against Switzerland for the whistleblower role played by IOC member Mark Hodler in the revelation of the 2002 corruption scandal. Turin's selection came 2 years after Rome's unsuccessful 2004 Summer Olympics bid. Those games were ultimately awarded to Athens, Greece. The information below comes from the International Olympic Committee Vote History web page. Cost and cost overrun. The Oxford Olympics study established the outturn cost of the Torino 2006 Winter Olympics at $4.4 billion in 2015 and cost overrun at 80% in real terms. This includes sports-related costs only, that is, operational costs incurred by the organizing committee for the purpose of staging the games, and more, expenditures for technology, transportation, workforce, administration, security, catering, ceremonies, and medical services, and direct capital costs incurred by the host city and country or private investors to build, and more. The competition venues, the Olympic Village, International Broadcast Center, and Media and Press Center, which are required to host the games. Indirect capital costs are not included, such as for road, rail, or airport infrastructure, or for hotel upgrades, or other business investment incurred in preparation for the games, but not directly related to staging the games. The cost and cost overrun for Torino 2006 compares with costs of $2.5 billion and a cost overrun of 13% for Vancouver 2010, and costs of $51 billion and a cost overrun of 289% for Sochi 2014, the latter being the most costly Olympics to date. Average cost for Winter Games since 1960 is $3.1 billion. Average cost overrun is 142%. Sports. The Games featured 84 medal events over 15 disciplines in 7 sports. Events that made their Olympic debut in Turin included mass start biathlon, team sprint cross-country skiing, snowboard cross and team pursuit speed skating. The classical men's 50 km and women's 30 km distances. which were held at the previous Winter Games in 2002, were not held in these games, as these events were alternated with freestyle events of the same distances. Most of the cross-country skiing events at these games involved different distances from those in Salt Lake City. The following are the sports and disciplines that were contested at the games. The numbers in parentheses after each sport discipline indicate the number of events contested. Day 1, Opening Ceremony. Stefania Belmondo, a 10-time Olympic medalist in cross-country skiing, lit the Olympic flame during the opening ceremony on February 10. Before that, the ceremony celebrated the best of Italy and sport, including a segment honoring the Alps. The Film Master Group K Events created and produced the opening and closing ceremonies of the 20th Winter Olympic Games in Turin in 2006. Executive producer Marco Balich, content supervisor Alfredo Acatino, art direction Lida Castelli. Monica Maimone of Studio Festi directed the section from Renaissance to Baroque. Part of the opening ceremony. Day 2. The first gold medal of the 2006 Games was awarded in the 20-kilometer biathlon, won by German Michael Gliz on the first day of competition. Ice hockey began with the women's competition. Sweden defeated Russia 3-1 in the first match, while Canada's team opened with the second most lopsided win in Olympic history by beating the host Italians 16-0. Day 3. On February 12, Latvia won its first Winter Olympic medal when Martins Rubinys took the bronze in the men's luge. Armin Zogler's win in that event gave Italy its first gold medal of the Games, and his fourth in a row. Both the Canadian and American women's ice hockey teams posted their second straight shutout wins. Day 4. Chinese figure skating pair Zhang Dan and Zhang Hao, trailing a dominant Russian pair, attempted a throw quadruple salcho jump, an element which had never been successfully completed in competition. Zhang Dan fell, injuring her knee. But the pair finished their program to a standing ovation and took the silver medal. Russia finished the third day of competition with 2 gold medals, as did the United States. Day 5. The fourth day saw the 2 North American women's hockey teams finish out pool play with their third win each. Yevgeny Plushenko of Russia set a world record score in the men's figure skating short program. His 90.66 points was 10 points better than the nearest opponent's score. The men's combined alpine skiing was riddled with disqualifications, including front-runners Bode Miller and Benjamin Reich. American Ted Ligety won the event in what was considered an upset. Day 6. Canada had another strong day on February 15, setting new Olympic records in both men's and women's pursuit team speed skating events, as well as opening the men's ice hockey competition with a win against Italy. Italy finished the day with the men's pursuit team Olympic record, however, after the Netherlands bettered Canada's time only to have Italy improve upon theirs. China won its first gold of 2006 with Wang Meng's victory in the women's individual 500-meter short track speed skating. A pair of Austrian brothers Andreas Linger and Wolfgang Linger won the men's doubles luge, while Michaela Dorfmeister gave the nation another championship in the women's downhill. Day 7. Christina Smygun won her second gold medal of the Games with a victory in the women's 10-kilometer classical cross-country skiing on February 16, remaining the only Estonian to medal. In men's curling action, Great Britain edged Germany 7-6, Switzerland kept New Zealand winless by winning 9-7. Canada beat Norway 7-6, and the United States defeated Sweden 10-6. LGBT figure skater Jeffrey Buttle from Canada won the bronze that year. In fact, he is the only non-European man in the top 3 during the men's individual. It was the only medals for him and Stefan Lambiel from Switzerland. Day 8. On February 17, Tanja Frieden of Switzerland took the gold in women's snowboard cross after Lindsay Jacobellis of the United States fell on the second-to-last jump while performing an unnecessary method grab. Jacobellis settled for silver, while Canada's Dominique Multay took bronze after recovering from a crash. Duff Gibson of Canada took gold in the skeleton just ahead of fellow Canadian Jeff Payne, becoming the oldest individual gold medalist in Winter Olympics history. Rodney Heiner of the United States took home the bronze. In the women's ice hockey semi-finals, the United States lost a shootout to Sweden. marking the first time in international competition that the United States had lost to anyone other than Canada. Day 9. Kjetil-André Aamodt won gold for Norway in the men's Super G on February 18, beating Hermann Maier of Austria. Germans Katie Wilhelm and Martina Glago finished first and second in the 10-kilometer biathlon pursuit. The host Italians defeated Canada in men's curling, while Switzerland did the same in men's ice hockey to put the Canadians on the wrong end of two major upsets in the same day. The United States men's ice hockey team suffered its first loss of the tournament as Slovakia and Russia continue their dominance of the pool. Day 10. Lascelles Brown became the first Jamaican-born competitor to win a medal at the Winter Olympics on February 19. Competing on the Canadian two-man bobsleigh team which finished second in an extremely tight competition, the German pair was only 21 seconds ahead of the Canadians, themselves only 14 ahead of the Swiss team. Finland continued to be unbeaten in men's ice hockey, handing Canada its second loss. The day also saw the most hyped event of these games, at least in Europe, as the men's 10 km cross-country relay was scheduled. The battle stemmed from the Lillehammer Games 12 years ago in which Italy outdueled Norway in that very same event. To that extent, many Norwegians wanted to win this event in order to embarrass the Italians on their home turf, but it was not to be as Italy crushed the field winning over Germany by over 15 seconds to take their fifth straight gold in this event. Norway failed to medal for the first time since 1988. Day 11. The final day of curling pool play was February 20. Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, and Canada advanced to the women's semi-finals while Finland, Canada, the United States, and Great Britain qualified in the men's competition. Austria took their first team gold medal in ski jumping, while Canada took their second in women's ice hockey to take a 2-1 lead over the United States in all-time Olympic championships. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?